made my family Wildcat fans. Not only Kentucky fans, but just being real Christian fans.
Well, really awesome.
Yes. That's awesome. That's awesome. You guys are yeah. See you, Dave. Sorry about the. We appreciate the transition. Yeah, you guys are great with the Dasani water. It's great. We're going to ask Coach for a opening statement. Then we'll open up questions for the student athletes first, and then we'll dismiss the student athletes, and then we'll have Coach. And I think someone's maybe looking for your attention. He's good. Okay. Coach, can you just give us an opening? First and foremost, congratulations and welcome to Omaha. Can you please give us an opening statement?
Well, thank you. This is the place we want to be. And every year, this is the goal, to make it here and then to win a national championship. So we're a handful away, wins away from that. We're excited. We're thankful. And we're a team that has really earned this and done something that no Kentucky team's ever done. And just thankful for these group of men, these two guys to my left, our fan base, and everybody else. We're just super excited to be here.
Thank you, Coach. We'll open up for questions. If you please raise your hand and say your name and affiliation.
Hey, Mitchell. Hey, Johnny. John Huang, NOLA Media. Last time we spoke to you guys, you were still riding high from the super regional win. Now that you're actually on site, what is your mindset? Have you calmed down a little bit, or are you more excited than ever?
You go take it. Okay. Yeah, I would say I think we're all just ready to get playing. I think it definitely, this first practice knocked the jitters off for a lot of people. I think everybody's just excited to get on the field, feel the dirt, see the scenery around. And so everybody's just ready to go, I would say, is a great word great phrase to describe it. So.
Yeah, I mean, our whole entire staff and our whole entire players were super excited to come here. It felt like a dream come true to all of us, and having this first practice has been just a real moment for all of us. We worked so hard to get to this position, and we're just ready to go out there, compete, and hopefully bring home a national championship.
Questions right down here.
Jake McKeever, College Baseball Central. Mitchell, you've been here before. You're one of the few people on this team. What are you instilling to the younger guys, and how is it different this time?
Yeah, I would definitely. Coach Minge actually, after we won the Super, just brought everybody together, and we just talked about, what to expect and a lot of moments that we're grateful for this season. And one of the things I kind of just told a lot of the younger guys is to, appreciate this, because for a lot of them it's, their first college season, and, my first time here I was a freshman as well, and I really didn't appreciate, how hard it is to get here. And, it took not going, for me to really be like, wow, this is special. And that's just what I've, tried to tell them, is just appreciate the moment, take everything in, and don't take it for granted.
Joe Menzer with ESPN, SEC Network. You go through the SEC grind because you talk a little bit about how that prepares you, but then also you get here, are you happy to see 3 SEC teams in your side of the bracket, or a little bit disappointed that you have to continue that same grind?
No, we're not disappointed at all. We're just happy to be here. We were going to stay with us. We're going to play our game, and we're going to go out there and compete how we know how to compete. So whoever's on the other side, it's all right. We're just ready to get out there on the field come Saturday and start playing.
Could you speak to how it prepares you playing in the SEC for being on the stage?
I mean, the SEC is the best conference in Division I baseball. So going throughout that conference and competing against these other teams that we're going to play that's in our side of the bracket has really helped us. We've competed against, I think, 2 of them that are in our bracket, maybe one of them. I don't really remember the bracket because I'm just taking all this in right now. So I know there's one of the teams that we've already played. Being able to play them again, maybe, is just going to help us because we know the ins and outs, and we're also just going to play our game.
Yeah, sure. I would say, in the SEC, it feels like almost every game is a playoff atmosphere, playoff mentality going into it. Every game's a grind, and So I don't think we're expecting anything less than that, in this journey throughout playoffs and now into Omaha. So we know that every team here is good. They're going to give us their A game, and we're prepared for that, and we're excited.
Questions, Ray? We'll go here and back there.
Noah Darling, College Baseball Central. Mitchell, I remember talking to you when you were at Texas before you made it here, and there was confidence among that ball club that you guys would make it to Omaha. Has there been a similar confidence on this team?
Oh yeah, I think I told Coach, the day I got here, when I looked around the locker room and saw the pieces that we had, I was confident that this was an Omaha caliber team, and the whole team is just a bunch of winners, just a bunch of competitors, guys who do whatever it takes to win, and that's really been our identity all year, is just doing whatever it takes to win and being on the attack. So I wasn't surprised when we won the Super, and now that we're here, and I know that these guys aren't satisfied. So.
Mitchell, what's your impression of the playing field? The dimensions are pretty similar to Kentucky Proud Park. The turf is obviously a little bit different. Do you think that plays into an advantage, disadvantage for your team?
No, we play on a lot of natural surfaces all year long in the SEC. So bouncing back and forth, it's obviously different, but it's something that we prepare for. Coach Minge and the rest of the coaching staff prepares us for. So, like you said, KPP plays big too, and so that's just kind of we know how to do what we need to do as an offense to adjust for that. So.
Any more questions for the players? One more, then Coach has got something you'd like to say.
Yeah, this is for both Mitchell and Johnny. Coach Minge talked about that specific time during the year when he went to third base, and he said a switch was flipped. From a player's perspective, did you all feel that? How much change in mood and momentum did you feel when that change was made?
I actually made the change in 22, so I actually started this year at third. So.
Yeah, so he's been at third the whole time I've been here. So, but just his energy that he brings, just doing, like we said, we don't move. He does whatever we ask. Whatever he asks of us, he is for sure doing the same. So you won't see him moving on a foul ball coming towards him, and we appreciate that because we know that he's in the fight with us. So,
if I could just share a couple things about these guys, this is what's so amazing about college baseball now. When you think about Johnny Hummel, a little over a year ago, he was at a Division II school closing out baseball games and enters his name into the transfer portal, and we ended up watching his video and seeing him and liking him. And I remember Jake Scott seeing him and talking to Will and us starting to recruit him and thinking about, wow, he was at a Division II school. And I remember watching him and looking in the stands, and with all due respect, there was sometimes I think I could count 7 to 8 people. And then I remember earlier in the year, we went to Ole Miss, and Johnny closed out the game. And after the game, his eyeballs are like popping out of his head, and he's just like, "Go, my great job, Johnny." He's like, "Thanks, Coach." He's like, his mouth was like, do you remember this?
I remember that.
He was like, "Coach, my mouth is so dry." That was awesome. That was awesome. And he closed out the game. So to your point earlier about the SEC preparing us for this, it's pretty amazing to think about a guy that believed in himself so much that he would come to Kentucky. And when the game and our season and everything was on the line to have our first trip, Johnny Hummel was the guy who came in and threw 3 straight strikes when we needed it the most. And then you think about Mitch's journey. Mitch came from a Power 5 school in Texas and might be the biggest winner in all of college baseball. In his 4 years of college baseball, he's been to 2 trips to Omaha and 2 super regionals. So all 4 years, that guy has played and helped lead a team to a super regional. Might be the biggest winner of all of college baseball. So when you think about the landscape of college baseball now, where we have an opportunity to connect 2 guys to share an experience and to do something that's never been done in Kentucky baseball history, is kind of cool. And it's kind of neat to think that they can come from totally different parts of our country, totally different paths and stories. And this team is filled with people like Johnny Hummel and Mitch Daly, who are just amazing people, just true winners, and will do whatever it takes to help Kentucky win. And these guys have played major roles, and it's just kind of neat to know their story. And I often said, maybe when this season's over, what was it, the Paul Harvey, the deal, the rest of the story? There's a lot of rest of the stories about this Kentucky team, and these are two of the very special ones that we have.
Gentlemen, thank you. Coach, you get to stay. But, gentlemen, best of luck, and we look forward to watching you play. Well, we'll open for questions for Coach. The first question will be down here. We got 1, 2, and 3 back there.
Mark Garland, College Baseball Central. Coach, first trip here to Omaha as a coach, first trip for Kentucky. Were there some coaches and mentors that you reached out to just talk a little bit about this trip and making this trip a little bit easier for you and your staff and the players?
In 2013, had the opportunity to come here with Mississippi State, and having played for the national championship and making it to the final series where there was 2 teams, it was like, wow. And, prior, I've reached out to a couple friends and people that have been here more recently, because that was, if my math's right, what was that, 11 years ago? That was before this little dude was even born, and life has changed since then. But I just remember coming here and just thinking about there's a lot of things going on, and rightfully so. I mean, this is the mecca of college baseball. And I just remember even reflecting and talking to some folks that have been here since then, just about how to try to stay focused on the task at hand. And it was a very similar message to our team, is you'll be pulled in a lot of directions, but we have to keep the main thing the main thing. And this team's done a great job of that all year. But to be able to stay focused on the task at hand, and that's to try to bring Kentucky its first ever college baseball national championship.
Right here.
Hi, Travis Brown with the Bryan College Station Eagle. Coach. What stands out to you? What do you remember the most about Robert Hogan's recruitment and how he's developed this year? And then what experience and leadership has he been able to bring with that deep run he had here in 2022?
The thing I remember about Robert Hogan is watching him on Synergy, and early in the year watching and seeing a player with tremendous energy and excitement and confidence. And then when you fast forward to some of his outings after, it didn't look like the same guy. And I remember looking at him and watching him on video and noticing that he had 2 bracelets on his glove hand. And I remember asking him, during the recruiting process, Hoagie, what are your bracelets? And he said, well, there's a guy at Texas A&M, a really great guy who had autism, and one of them is for him, and another one is a bracelet about my faith. And I said, really? And I said, the bracelet about autism, was it somebody that wore glasses? And he's like, yeah. I said, was his name Zach? And he goes, Coach, I think it might be. And then I pulled up a slide in my PowerPoint. And I said, is it this guy? And he's like, yes, that's Zach. Well, we had met Zach in 2018 when we were at the Minute Maid Classic. And he became a dear friend of mine in our program. So we immediately connected on that. And then we connected on the faith piece. And I just remember talking to him and just mentoring him that night about how his identity is not wrapped up in this sport, and it cannot be, no matter what. You are Robert Hogan, who happens to play baseball. You're not Robert Hogan, a baseball player. And we just connected. And believe it or not, by the time we hung up in that conversation, it was very shortly after he became a Wildcat. And I feel like with all my heart, this is exactly where God wanted Hoagie. And to watch his development, just from the time he first got here to somebody that was lost, still trying to find his way and lacking confidence, to a guy that is now standing on the mound who acts like he owns the place and can pitch and get outs in the biggest moment, is really what's cool about coaching. And as important as this is, and the trophy and everything else, I really believe that Kentucky has changed his life, and that weighs and means more to me than maybe anything. Yeah.
Coach, Matt Towery from World Baseball Network. I'm also a native of Westchester County, White Plains, New York. So Westchester in the house, 914. What's it like to see guys like Ryan, Robert, just like be commanded of the pitching staff, let alone of filling you guys into the rotation or just frontlining certain innings for your relief pitchers, and let alone on the offensive side, guys like Nick, Ryan, Mitch. How do you just feel those type of players can just get an offense going when either, some innings of mishaps happen, or what other chemistry those guys feel throughout the clubhouse?
Well, I can tell you, I want to give Nick Amorati, one of our assistants, a lot of credit for the job that he's done for our team offensively, and Austin Cousineau, who is his first year on our staff. He's one of our greatest players of all time. And those players you just mentioned are really good players. And the thing about them is they can help us beat teams in a lot of different ways. So some of the guys you mentioned, they're able to steal a base. If the pitcher's not where he needs to be with his break time and the catcher's arm is not where it's supposed to be, then we have the ability to steal a base. Those guys have the ability to hit the ball out of the yard. They have the ability to go first to third. They have the ability to score from first on a double. They have the ability to lay down a bunt. So we're at our best when we do what the game demands at that time. And those guys you just mentioned, they're fully capable of doing a lot of those different things. It'd be much like a basketball player who is multidimensional, much like a football player who can really make a lot of things happen, and he's not one-dimensional. And a lot of the guys you mentioned, they can certainly do that.
Jake McKeever, College Baseball Central. Coach, this is for your assistant over here. What's been your favorite moment of the season?
I'd probably say just watching them celebrate after a win. It's just kind of fun just to watch what they do. Like, just go crazy and have all the emotions that they need to have.
What's your favorite celebration?
Either a dog pile or when they run around the field.
Hey, Nick, John Huang,
Hey,
NOLA
John.
Media. Congratulations on your second Coach of the Year honor. You've got two of them now, bookending your head coaching career. I kind of sense the second one means a little bit more to you. If that's true, can you explain to us why it may?
John, thank you for being here, by the way. I was naive my first year when SEC Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year, and I'd be lying if I wasn't like, man, that was a little easier than I thought. And boy, was I wrong. And, and I hope you appreciate my transparency, because this game and life will humble you in a second, as you know. So the thing I've learned about these awards they really are team awards. And I congratulated our staff, because that is an award you legitimately could not do by yourself. All the time and effort that we're spending preparing for our next game and our opponents, and all the time and effort on the phone recruiting and evaluating and doing all these things, it really is a team award. And really the thing that it means to me is I have surrounded myself with amazing people. I really have. Like, you do not win this award unless you are just covered and surrounded by amazing people. And it starts with my wife and my son, and it goes all the way down to our coaches and our assistant coaches, our strength coaches, our athletic trainers, our student managers, our athletic director, our administration, our fans. Like, you cannot do that. There is no way that you can ever win one of those awards without having yourself being surrounded with amazing people. And I've done a lot of things wrong as a head coach, and I make mistakes, and I'm sure I'll make a mistake in this College World Series, but I have absolutely hit a grand slam or threw a perfect game or whatever you want to say with the people I've surrounded myself with.
Any other questions for Coach?
Thank you all for being here. I do want to say this. If you can put this out, this would mean a lot to me. If the people of Omaha are looking for a team to root for, this is your team. This is your team. We are the first-timers. We want to have a great experience. We want to be lifted up. I've seen this city and I've seen the people of this place lift up opposing teams. I've watched this thing over and over. And if they're looking for a team that competes at the highest level and has an amazing time doing it, we would love for you to jump on board. There are so many seats on the Kentucky bandwagon. We have Eli Small, who is from Elkhorn. I mean, he's a Nebraska guy who just loves this place. We've been talking about bringing him home all year. So if you can hear my voice and you can see this video, whatever, and you're like, I wonder who I'm going to root for, let it be the Cats. Thank you. Go Cats.
Thank you, Coach. Best of luck.